It's time for the press review on France 24. Nick Rushworth is with me on the set to take a look at today's papers. Hi, Nick.
Hi to you, Jeannie.
You're going to start in Italy, where, of course, all the focus is on that lockdown of the entire country due to the coronavirus.
Well, let's go right away to La Stampa, one of the main papers in Italy, and it's headlining on this story. Italy is closed up until the 3rd of April. It's off limits. The headline there, the government locks down the whole of the country, and it gives that headline with a picture of a trader and the caption, "The market's in panic mode." The Milan bourse was down around 11% on Monday. There's also a picture there of a rooftop protest at a Milan jail. Inmates rioted in prisons across the country after visiting rights were cut. Several prisoners have died in the chaos, so extraordinary times for Italy.
Another paper in Italy is actually looking beyond the current crisis, trying to get prominent figures in Milan to express their hope for the future.
Well, it was very difficult to dig out a upbeat, positive story with so much going on in Italy. But this is Corriere della Sera, which is in Milan, and it says courage is needed right now. Time needs to be taken to imagine what a recovery would be like. It interviews 16 prominent Milanese. The quote from one of them, fashion designer Giorgio Armani, is that Milan does not know the word surrender. The quote from him, "This is an opportunity now to join forces to ensure that everything we love in Milan gets seen to the eyes of the world." A museum director in the city says, when this is all over, we're going to have a big street party involving the whole city. So again, an upbeat message. One of the city's chefs says, yeah, we've got to keep a meter's distance between each other, but this is an opportunity to reflect on encounters we have. Enjoy some good food, he says, in this time. Take time to reflect. So really, expressing that desire that somehow we should just take a little moment of pause.
Right, and that idea of a calmer, more caring world is also taken up by an editorialist in the South China Morning Post who argues that the coronavirus should trigger a return to what is called caring capitalism.
Well, as you can imagine, Jeannie, this idea of a caring capitalist angle on the coronavirus outbreak is in the minority in terms of common pieces around the world. But the piece in the South China Morning Post begins with the words, "The world seems to have fallen down a rabbit hole." And it argues that the world's policymakers, and there you can see some of them, Trump, Macron, Merkel, their task, perhaps maybe their instinct, is to cut interest rates to avoid a global market meltdown. But the argument is that just causes more distortions. What's needed instead is a strategy for recovery for the major economies that puts the emphasis on faster growth in the least developed economies of the world. So a transfer of real resources from wealthy to poor nations. Jeannie, a sharp contrast to the idea of caring capitalism is a piece in The Age, the Australian paper, in which a toilet paper hoarder confesses. Now, this is writer Jenna Price. At one point in that piece, she says, "My thoughtful self says, yes, I'm being ridiculous, but in my household, there are 4 adults and 1 baby. I've stored enough to ensure that if we have to self-isolate, we can. I don't fear our society will dissolve, not this month anyway, but I just don't trust the systems to protect me and my family." Final words from her, "Trying to make order out of chaos is fine, even if it involves hoarding 36 rolls of toilet paper."
That's a lot of toilet paper. All right. In America, one paper is calling on all of us to reach out to elderly people who might be vulnerable right now.
Well, this is the Boston Globe, and it's pointing to this intergenerational issue. We've seen in South Korea, for example, that not one single person under 30 has died from coronavirus. The headline there, "Call your mom, the generational politics of COVID-19." And the message is that we're all in this together. It's time to renew relationships between young and old. The quote there, "If older folks are being drawn in by misinformation coming from the White House, from Fox News, they'll need to listen to their kids and grandkids to share information to help them stay safe." So a message there that is upbeat, again, a minority story when we look at some of the gloom and doom in a lot of the papers. I just want to end on a cartoon in the Toronto Sun, which kind of conveys that feeling many of us are having, yes, we're doing something, we're adapting. This guy has gone off to a paradise island, booking a safe getaway vacation, only to find that he's sharing it with Goodman Friday. they're stuck on the island with one other person who's wearing a mask. I suppose the question there is, does that mean they have the virus or not? What do you make of it? So they're really, so I think a lot of people out there are going through, as you and I are going through, that kind of feeling, aren't we?
Coronavirus certainly very present in everyone's minds. Thank you so much for that, Nick. Nick Rushworth with a look at the press review.